Students, Saira. Let us begin with our today's class. And in this class, we are going to start with a new unit of Beehive. Unit 8, Reach for the Top. This chapter or this unit is divided or bifurcated into two parts. The first part is about Santosh Yadav and part second is about Maria Sharapova. Now reach for the top, it is divided into two parts, and this reach for the top unit is a inspirational unit. It will give you some inspiration stories from the real life of certain peoples. Like we have here Santosh Yadav. Let us begin to know who was Santosh Yadav and how she became an inspiration for everyone. So the introduction says, for the part 1 is an inspirational account of the phenomenal success and achievement of an Indian woman mountaineer who climbs mountain. Santosh Yadav, who beat all odds and prejudice to script a success story. Thanks to her sterling qualities of perseverance, patience, commitment, persistence, and consistency of purpose. So we are going to read these qualities in deep through this part 1 of Reach for the Top, which is about Santosh Yadav, who is a mountaineer. Mountaineer, as I have told you, who climbs mountain. Now, before starting with the chapter, let us have a look on the words. The first word is contentment. Contentment means satisfaction. Next word is affluent. Affluent, which means will to do. Next word is urge, means strong desire. Next word is headed straight for. It's a phrase. Headed straight for, which means went towards, to move on, to move forward. That means headed straight for. Next word is culmination. Culmination, which means end. Next word is annals. Annals means historic records. And the last word is bestowed upon her. That means honored her with. When we honor someone, that means it is known as bestowed upon her. Now the story starts about a woman, the only woman in the world who has scaled Mount Everest twice, was born in a society where the birth of a son was regarded as a blessing, and a daughter, though not considered a curse, was not generally welcome. So here the story starts with a line where we are being introduced to Santosh Yadav, saying that she is the first woman and she has made the world record that she is the first woman who climbed Mount Everest twice. But she was born in such a society where boys are welcomed more than a girls. Though in that society girls are not considered as curse, but they are not welcome wholeheartedly with a smile. They just have a child, that means it's okay. But when a boy is there, they celebrate that day. Now let us continue with the next line. When her mother was expecting Santosh, a traveling holy man. Holy man in Hindi we say sadhu, right? Holy man giving her his blessing assumed that she wanted a son. But to everyone's surprise, the unborn child's grandmother, who was standing close by, told him that they did not want a son. The holy man was also surprised. Now, what happened when one day Santosh's mother was outside her house and a sadhu was passing by from there, and he was blessing Santosh's mother, and he thought in his mind that she might want a son because she is conceiving. She might want a son, but the woman who is standing near Santosh's mother was grandmother of Santosh. Unborn child. Unborn child means unborn child means the child who is not born, and we know that child who is not born is Santosh. And her grandmother told that we don't want a son. Now, because the society has that thought that we every woman or every family want a son, but why they are saying that they don't want a son, this make the holy men surprised a lot. Let us continue. Nevertheless, he gave the requested blessing, and as destiny would have it, the blessing seemed to work. Now, whatever they want, the blessings was given to them, and in the same way, the writer is saying that the blessing was shown in the coming future. Santosh was born, and Santosh was the sixth child in a family with five sons. That means Santosh was having five elder brothers. Now, Santosh was the sixth child of her family, a sister to five brothers. She was born in the small village of Jonia, was of Rivari district in Haryana. That means she is born in Haryana in Rivari district. And the girl was given the name Santosh, which means contentment, that means satisfaction. But Santosh was not always content with her place in a traditional way of life. She began living life on her own terms from the start. So she was not satisfied because her name is satisfaction. Her name means satisfaction. So she is not satisfied the way the girls are treated in the society. And from the starting, she lived her life. She lived her life like the way she wanted to live. Where other girls wore traditional Indian dresses, Santosh preferred shorts. So she was not wearing salwar suit. She was from her childhood was wearing shorts like boys. Looking back, she says now. So in an interview when she was talking to someone, she remembered those days, and what she says, let us read that. From the very beginning, I was quite determined that if I choose a correct and a rational path, the other around me had to change, not me. So she says that from beginning I have this thought in my mind that if I will choose a correct path for myself, then I am not going to change because of other people's. Other people's have to change according to me. So this was her statement, which shows that um, she was very determined whatever she wanted to do in her life. Now, the next paragraph says that Santosh parents were affluent landowners who could afford to send their children to the best school, even to the country's capital. Now he says, now we get to know that they are very rich. Affluent landowners means a very rich landowners, that they if they want that their children should going to a good school, they can send them very easily. They are so rich, but they can send their children to the New Delhi capital's very rich school, but they didn't. But in line with the prevailing custom in the family, Santosh had to make to do with the local village school. So it was a tradition in the family that girls have to go to the schools which are there in the village itself. They're not allowed to go to the capital or any other city. They just have to study or have to complete their education in the village itself. It's a tradition. So she also followed that tradition. She also went to the school which is there in the village. So she decided to fight the system in her own quiet way when the right moment arrived. So she have that thought that I will not follow this tradition, but she was waiting for the right moment. She have this in her mind that one day whenever I will get a time, a perfect moment, whenever I will get it, I will refuse to follow all such tradition of this village. So that plan she was having in her mind. She was following the tradition that she was studying in the village school. That doesn't mean that she has given her up. That she has given her. No, she has not given up. She was waiting for the right moment. So what happened? Let us read further. And the right moment came when she turned 16. At 16, most of the girls in her village used to get married. Santosh was also under pressure from her parents to do the same. Now, parents are saying to Santosh that you have to get married because it's a tradition in a family or in a village that girls at the age of 16 have to get married. A marriage as early as that was the last thing on her mind. She threatened her parents that she would never marry if she did not get a proper education. So now she kept a very good, you can say that she make up propose to her parents that if I will not be educated in a proper way, if I am not given a proper education, then I'm not going to marry. She left home and got herself enrolled in a school in Delhi. When her parents refused to pay for her education, she politely informed them of her plans to earn money by working part time to pay her school fees. Her parents then agreed to pay for her education. So she was very smart. She blackmailed them. What she did, she first she first kept a purpose in a proposal in front of them that if you are not going to give me a proper education, then I'm not going to marry. And when they didn't agree with this thing, what happened next? She uh, get herself enrolled. She left her home. She get herself enrolled in a school in Delhi, and then when she asked for the fees of the school, her parents refused because they have the thought in their mind that if we will refuse, she will come back because she have no other way to pay the fees. But she was very determined to get a proper education. So what she did, she said, it's okay, if you're not going to pay my fees, then I'm going to do a part-time job and I will pay my fees. Now at last, seeing her determination towards her studies, her parents agree that okay, we are going to pay your fees. Wishing always to study a bit more, with her father slowly getting used to her urge for more education. So slowly she used to explain her plans to her parents that she want to study, and with this her parents are also getting used to it. Santosh passed the high school examination and went to Jaipur. She joined Maharani College and get a room in Kasturba hostel. So after completing her high school, she went to Jaipur where she got admission in Maharani College, and she also get a room in a hostel named Kasturba hostel. Santosh remembers Kasturba hostel faced the Aravali Hill. Now here when she was giving an interview, Santosh remembered that where in front of her Kasturba hostel there was Aravali Hills. I used to watch villagers from my room going up the hills and suddenly vanishing out for a while. One day I decided to check it out myself. I found nobody except a few mountaineers. I asked if I could join them. To my pleasant surprise, they answered in the affirmative and motivated me to take to climbing. So what happened whenever she used to be get she get free, she used to look out of a window and she watched that, and she noticed that on Aravali Hills there are hills there, and the villagers who are local villagers, they are climbing on that hills. And one day what happened, she have a thought that I should also go there and should see what is going on. And when she went there, she saw that there were no one except certain mountaineers who are expert in climbing the mountains, and they were there, and she also asked them for a permission that can I climb with you. And they were so motivating towards her that they motivated Santosh and they also let her climb the mountain. Then there was no looking back for this determined young girl, and from that day she didn't look back. She have a thought in her mind that she want to become a mountaineer. She saved money and enrolled in a course at Uttarkashi's Nehru Institute of Mountaineering. My college semester in Jaipur was to end in April, but it ended on 19th of May, and I was supposed to be in Uttarkashi on the 21st. So I did not go back home. Instead, I headed straight for the training. I had to write a letter of apology to my father, without whose permission I had got myself enrolled at Uttarkashi. Now, what happened? Her college, her higher education is going to end in the April, but it didn't end in April. Instead of that, it ended in 19th of May, because she had a plan that I will get a time of 1 month, that in April my session will end and my college semester will end, and I will go home. From there, I will take permission from my parents. I will tell them about my enrollment in Uttarkashi's mountaineering college, and from there I will went to Uttarkashi, but it didn't happen because on 19 the semester finished and she has to reach in she has to reach to Uttarkashi on 21st. So she headed directly to the Uttarkashi, and from there she wrote a letter to her father that without your permission I have enrolled myself in this particular course. Thereafter, Santosh went on an expedition. Expedition means when you go on climbing. Every year, she used to go on climbing every year. Her climbing skill matured rapidly because now she is getting training. She is going for expedition. She is going for that training every time. Now she has become very mature in that climbing. Also, she developed a remarkable resistance to cold and the attitude. Now she has become used to all the colds and attitude problem which the mountaineer used to face. Equipped with an iron will, physical endurance, and an amazing mental toughness, she proved herself repeatedly. That means through her physical qualities and mental qualities, she was proving everyone that she was the best. The culmination of her hard work and sincerity came in 1992, just 4 years after she had shyly asked the Aravali mountaineers if she could join them. At barely 20 years of age, Santosh Yadav scaled Mount Everest, becoming the youngest woman in the world to achieve the feat. So, at the age of just 20, she was the youngest girl who have climbed the Mount Everest. Just after 4 years, when she first time climbed the Aravali Hills. If her climbing skill, physical fitness, and mental strength impressed her seniors, her concern for others and desire to work together with them found her a special place in the heart of fellow climbers. During the 1992 Everest mission, Santosh Yadav provided special care to a climber who lay dying at the South Col. She was unfortunately unsuccessful in saving him. However, she managed to save another climber, Mohan Singh, who would have met with the same fate if she had not shared her oxygen with him. So she was not very determined about her career, but she was a very good human being too, because while climbing, we all know that the oxygen level is very low at the highest peak, but instead of knowing such facts, she even provided her oxygen mask to others also, so that she can save their life also. So we can say she was not just a determined lady, but a good human being also, because she has that desire to help others. Within 12 months, Santosh found herself a member of an Indo-Nepalese women's expedition. That means where India and Nepali women are going for a climbing. And they invited Santosh Yadav for this. She then scaled the Everest second time. So she has scaled Everest how many times? 2 times. Thus setting a record as the only woman to have scaled the Everest twice and securing for herself and India a unique place in the annals of mountaineering. So she is the one who have make a historical record that she is the only woman who has climbed or scaled the Mount Everest twice. No other woman has did this. In recognition of her achievement, the India government bestowed upon her one of the nation's top honor, the Padma Shri. So she was awarded Padma Shri also by the government. Describing her feeling when she was literally on top of the world, Santosh has said, "It took some time for the enormity of the moment to sink in. Then I unfurled the Indian tricolor and held it aloft on the roof of the world. The feeling is indescribable. The Indian flag was flying on top of the world. It was a truly spiritual moment. I felt proud as an Indian." Also a fervent environmentalist, Santosh collected and brought down 500 kilograms of garbage from the Himalayas. So now here at the last paragraph, she has described her feeling when she reached the top of the Mount Everest and what feeling she had. She was feeling very great, and after that, she took that Indian flag and she hold that in her hand and she flied that on Mount Everest, and she was feeling very proud to be an Indian today because she's holding that flag in her hand, and she's the woman who has twice climbed the Mount Everest also. But being a good human, being a very determined lady, a successful person, she is also very, you can say, environment lover. Why? Because after coming back from Mount Everest, when she saw there was lot of garbage there, she collected approximately 500 kilograms of garbage, and she brought that down also. So we can say that she is very aware of all such things, and a great human who is aware of everything. So this was all about your Santosh Yadav, a mountaineer. And in the next video, we are going to study the second part of Reach for the Top, Maria Sharapova. So for this class, that's all. Thank you, students. Take care.